I just wanted to get that on before I lost track of time. But I know, I got 7 straight, 7 something.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the town council regular meeting to order here for March 18th. Mrs. Miss, would you please take the roll?
Counselor Schinkin.
Here.
Counselor Hopper.
Here.
Counselor Gardner.
Present.
Counselor Peterson.
Here.
Counselor Nellens.
Present. I'd like to ask everyone to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And during a moment of silence, if you would think about our troops overseas where they're deployed throughout the world. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we start the open to the public, I would like to read a short statement here. The council understands and acknowledges the considerable interest among attendees in addressing the council concerning the Center for Visual and Performing Arts matter. We have received an extensive volume of correspondence surpassing 200 emails on this subject. Rest assured that the number of emails received will be incorporated into the official record of tonight's meeting. Therefore, if you have previously sent an email, your comments will be duly included in the public comment section of the official record. Within the open to the public, we kindly ask that all person public comments is limited to 2 minutes, maximum per person of 5 minutes for a group spokesperson. Please keep your comments civil and constructive and related to public policy issues. In the event questions are posed to the council, we will note your question in the meeting minutes and we will refer questions to the appropriate department or staff for follow-up and response. Public comments may be submitted electronically. If you have a question or a comment about an item on the agenda that you would like to have entered into the meeting minutes, please email the question or comment to the clerk treasurer, Wendy Miss, at wmis@munster.in.gov. With that, I'd like to open up the public section. I'd like to have you orderly come up to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Sue Cook, and I'm from Munster, Indiana.
Excuse me, your address, please.
8750 Harrison, number 109, Munster. I've been a resident of Munster for 60 years, and I have been an usher with the theater for 15 years. And we have all been taught beautifully by Jamie, and we love the theater. I am one of the head ushers of the church at the theater. We have 24 ushers. We are all volunteers, and we love it. We want to say that the adults love it. They love coming to the theater. They love the handles. They love the chairs. They love the place that we love them, that we can care for them, that we can be kind, and we can have great shows. More and more people are saying we love it here, we want it here. We are in our shows now between 350 to 400 people per night when we have a show. The theater holds over 410 seats, but it's well and welcomed. We want to also say that we have children's shows. We have children that come from homeschools, from preschools up through middle school in some cases. We bus them in or the parents drive them in. They are seated, and again, they are also many schools that come as far as even Lake Village in to see these shows. They run from in May, it's for the 5 days, the first week of May, and 2 shows or 2 weeks in December, the first 2 weeks of December. We can run 3 to 4 schools at a time to get all these kids in. They love it, they want it, and the teachers want it, and it's worthy of them. I just want to add to that this is an experience that all of us need and all of us want. And the people that come through our doors that we are tending to as ushers, they love the place. And I just want to say to each of you, keep the theater orphan for our community, please. And all that they need is love, and all we need to do is love the folks that come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Teresa Rosy. I live at 320 Belmont Place. And I wasn't really prepared to come tonight. I had no idea the meeting was tonight, and I've never been to a town meeting before. Unfortunately, when I moved here in 2019, I didn't notice that there was an odor coming from my faucet until 6 months after I moved in. Contacted the water department and asked them if they would test my water. And they told me, well, did you just move here? And I said, well, I moved here 6 months ago, and I was told I took too long to ask. And she said, well, if you refinance your home, then you can do it when you refinance your home, but we won't do it unless you did it right when you moved. So when I went to the water department, when I moved here to open my account, no one said to me, hey, we'll test your water if you want. I didn't know, why would you think there would be a time limit? So it's been 5 years now. I finally bought one of those test your home kits, and it came back with pesticides in my tap water. I'm seriously concerned. I mean, I do cook most of my stuff with bottled water. I don't drink the tap water, but I shower in it. You know, I wash my clothes in it. There are pesticides in my tap water. And I'm not on a well, I'm on city water. Where's it coming from? Or is it not, you don't filter for that because you never thought it'd be there? And now I don't know what to do. Is there some recourse? Is there someone who will look into this for me?
Yes, we will. We have her name and address.
Yeah, well, it was 320 Belmont, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
Your last name again?
Rosy, R-O-S-S-I.
Thank you.
we'll certainly follow up on that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria Diaga, 3349 South Manor Drive, I live in Lansing. Good evening, everyone. I'm the manager at Trauma Catering at the Center for Vision Performing Arts. And I'm here to speak to you on behalf of our owner, Joe Trauma, and the rest of our Trauma Catering family. I just wanted to take a minute to address how the sale of the Center for Vision Performing Arts, the school town of Munster, has and will affect our company. I know that there has been a few newspaper articles about how devastating the sale would be to the arts and the performing arts, but I feel our side of it has not been considered by a lot of people. Yes, we are a business, but we are so much more than that. We are family. The same way you all gather with your loved ones for Sunday dinner or holidays, we spend them here together serving this wonderful Munster community and beyond. The joy and love that is felt in our ballroom is priceless. Many of the people in this very room have joined us for weddings, showers, theater lunches, and our popular Sunday brunches. South Shore Arts and Theater at the Center and Trauma Catering, together we're a team. We're a team at the Center for Vision Performing Arts. We all work in tandem. The theater customers eat themed lunches in our ballroom. We provide catering services of all kinds to South Shore Arts and their customers. Our Sunday brunch and event customers visit their gallery and shop in their gift shop. We are neighbors and we are partners to serve not just this community, but all of Northwest Indiana. At our very first Sunday brunch back after COVID in January 2023, the very first customers in the door drove more than 2 hours from Shipshewana, Indiana, and they are regulars now. We don't just provide food or service. We provide a welcoming atmosphere of love and joy and happiness. Our owner, Joseph Trauma, has been at the CVPA since its doors opened back in 1989 as head chef. He served the very first party for the workers and staff at the Center for Visual Performing Arts on March 17th, 1989, 35 years ago yesterday. He then took over and became the owner in 2010. Our current chef, Chef Hugo Francisco, has been at the Center for Visual Performing Arts for 33 years. He started as a dishwasher back in 1991, and with the help and guidance of our owner, Joe, he became a sous chef in 1994 and then head chef in 2010. Chef Joe saw something special in Hugo. And he is so grateful, and as he always tells people that is something you cannot repay with money. You repay it with hard work and loyalty. They have worked hard together. Long hours, and they've sacrificed themselves, all to make sure that at the end of the night, people left with full tummies and a smile on their face. And the food's delicious. If you've never tried it, you're missing out. I know, he's my husband. Today, we have a staff of almost 50 people, 50 employees of all ages, backgrounds from this community and the communities all around. Many have passed through our kitchen doors. Many of them young kids from this school district, from this town, whose very first job was working in our kitchen. Many of them are now nurses, accountants, mechanical engineers, and firefighters who still come back to see this guy right here, to thank him and tell him how grateful they are to have worked for him and with him. They tell him how he taught them work ethic, and that part of the reason they are who they are today is because of him. He hasn't just been a boss to them, but also a friend, a mentor, a father figure, literally a shoulder to lean on. I can't even count how many times these kids come back to see him, or how many times we've run into them at other places and restaurants and the stores, and they tell him how they tell their kids that he was the best boss they've ever had. He is hard on them, and he is strict, and he takes no nonsense, but he's a goofball, and he's loving, and he's compassionate and empathetic, all in one. This isn't just a job, we are a family. When we had to gather all the staff and give them the news about us having to possibly close, we said we understood if anyone had to leave and look for other jobs. Many have families and jobs, families and kids, parents to take care of. And do you know what they all said? They said they would stick with us to the very end. That's loyalty. That is family. That's something special. And that is what Munster would be losing if the school town of Munster purchases the CVPA and shuts us down. Our owner couldn't be here to speak today, as all this went down while he was on vacation. And he'll be back, but he's not here yet. I just want to take this opportunity to thank him for myself and for my husband for all that he's done for us and all that he's taught us. And we hope we've made him proud. Thank you so much for listening. And we hope that the town of Munster would consider very seriously how this town will be affected. And please do all that you can to make sure the legacy of the Center for Visual Performing Arts will be here for future generations. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alex Coia. I'm 27. I live at 8711 Manor Avenue. I've lived in Munster my entire life, and I now live in a home with my fiance Isabel. I definitely did not come here. I didn't even know about this meeting until yesterday when I met with my wedding planner, and I found out about the potential sale of the Performing Arts Center. I just wanted to be another person on record, speaking on behalf of the Performing Arts Center. Personally, as someone that's having a wedding there this summer, I just kind of want to get some answers and hope we didn't have to cancel our wedding for all the people coming from out of town. Obviously, being born and raised in Munster, always dreamed of getting married here, but nothing as great as the previous speech. But I just wanted to be on record saying that this would also affect people like me. And speaking with our wedding planner the other day, seeing how shaken up she was and, how her life would be affected, her livelihood, if they with all the other people there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for letting me be here tonight. Dave Mikut, 37 Castleton Road, Valparaiso, Indiana, 46385. I work at 1040 Ridge Road, Center for Visual and Performing Arts, and I'm fortunate enough to be the executive director for South Shore Arts in the Northwest Indiana Symphony. And you know, what I wanted to maybe do here tonight was, on behalf of those organizations and our board members and supporters that are here, relative to this, is just provide some public examples of ways that we impact the community out there, and things that we do through our focus and operations at the Center for Visual and Performing Arts. So I'll give you a quick example. David Taylor is an assistant concertmaster with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. He happens to be playing with our orchestra this Friday night in our upcoming concert. Carmen and Carmina donated his time this evening as part of his agreement with us to actually present his photos from across the globe that he's taken in travels with the CSO, and then play 4 pieces of music for just the public audience that we invited in, our donors, our season ticket holders, people like that, right in our gallery. And it's a unique opportunity that we try to bring forward through the arts and through music as regularly as we can. And it's because we have a facility like that we could put on an impromptu, event like that, and just invite people in to enjoy that kind of experience right here in Munster. I'd say our next exhibit, we have a neighbors exhibit up right now, which includes local artists like David DeSaris, but there's an artist, Tim Lowley, who's in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. He's been on display at the National Portrait Gallery in Washington, D.C. And again, another example of an artist that we can bring right here into Munster to make available to the community, to come in. And all of our services and exhibits, for the most part, are free. You just walk in and enjoy the gallery space. Our next one is the exact opposite. We've got the 50th anniversary of our Tri-County Junior Senior High School show, where we'll have literally over 800 student artists display their work, floor to ceiling, in a 5,000 square foot gallery of their work. And on May 5th, we'll celebrate that with a big awards program. We'll fill that gallery more full than this room, standing room only, with parents, students, grandparents, community members, just to celebrate that. And we provide over $10,000 in awards and scholarships to the students to further their interest in the arts. And finally, maybe one last example I'll give, on the symphony side is, every year we try to invite community groups to participate in our performance. So they come over to the center, practice with us, rehearse with us, and then perform with us. This year at the Holiday Pops concert, we invited a local group, Just for Fun Strummers, which is literally a group of ukulele players, anywhere from 70 to almost 90 years old. There might be a few younger ones, but a majority of these folks are literally that age. And after the performance, they did Mele Kalikimaka, what else, at the concert. But after the concert, one of the women in the group came up to me and pulled me aside, and just wanted to share. And she had shared that she had been diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago, that she really thought about life and all the things she couldn't do anymore. And then now with the cancer diagnosis, how dark it was. And so she's going through recovery from her surgeries and that, saw a sign posted that said, "Come learn to play ukulele." So she jumped in full steam ahead and thought, that's something I can do. I haven't lost everything, I can do this. And she did it. So she got a chance to go on stage and perform in front of our audience for Holiday Pops. And she came out afterwards and she was like, "Dave, you just don't understand what this means to me." In front of 60 professional musicians, a chorus of 80 plus people singing behind me. I'm in front of an audience of 1,000 people out there, and I'm 88 years old. And this was not an experience I ever thought in my life I was ever going to have. And so those are the experiences that, quite honestly, these organizations, we're fearful that are at risk. If we can't continue to operate at the center, and almost everything we do is in collaboration with the other organizations you've heard from, Trauma Catering, Theater at the Center. We work together to make that happen, just as Maria said. And so we don't know what the future holds with School Town of Munster and how they're going to use it. They haven't shared plans. We really don't know, but we know what's at risk for the community, and we just wanted to make sure we shared with the public and with you all of what that risk is. And we hope you feel the way we do, which is it's a big risk to take, that if there is a chance that we lose that opportunity. So thanks for listening. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pat Kramer. I live in Lansing, 3352 North Schultz Drive. And I'm here to tell you, I know you're all new to your positions, but I want to tell you, each one of you has an opportunity to be a hero, not only for the residents of Munster, but for all of the residents in the surrounding communities. When I moved here 30 years ago, my friends in Chicago, that's where I was living for many years, told me, why are you moving to the south suburbs when there's going to be, there's going to be a cultural desert? And I said, oh, no, you have to come down here. I found the Center for Visual and Performing Arts, and it's wonderful. Everything's under one roof. You have to come and see it. Well, they did. And they came year after year as my guests. And eventually, 6 years ago, they moved to Munster and bought a home in Munster. And they love it here. And they love the Center for Visual and Performing Arts. So what I want to tell you is, please don't let it go away. We don't want to become a cultural desert, and that is what would happen. Without a liquor license, there is no champagne brunch. There's no weddings. There's no my husband's 70th birthday party. There's none of that. There's so many things that depend on each other to work. When you go to the center, you can have a wonderful champagne brunch or a dinner. After that, you can stroll into the gallery and see the wonderful artists that are displayed on the walls. You can buy something wonderful and unique at the cultural coffee, not the shop where I buy everything. When at Christmas time, they love seeing me come because I spend a lot of money in there. But anyway, it's just, and then the doors open to the theater, and it's one wonderful performance after another. And I must tell you that years ago in Chicago, there was a concept known as dinner theater. Well, that has been revived at the theater with the Joe Promise group, working with Phil on the theater. It's literally a dinner theater. You have a wonderful dinner, you go into the theater, you walk into the gallery, you buy something in the shop, you've had a wonderful evening, you've had free parking, and you're home before dark. So anyway, once again, as individuals, as new people to the board, you have this opportunity. Please take it. Thank you so much on behalf.
Thank you.
My name is Carol Moore. I live at 9604 Cypress here in Munster. I have been here in Munster for 50 years. And I have to echo what Pat said. When I first moved here, this was a cultural desert. There wasn't anything to do. And over the years, I watched the town evolve and grow. And when the center was built, I have been in that building at least once a week, every year since that building was built. In fact, I was in that building before it was finished. So I have been to something there. I'm a member of the Arts Association. I went to the theater, had season tickets. I eat in the dining room. And I think that this is such an asset to the town of Munster. We advertise ourselves as an art-loving community. We have outdoor art exhibits. If we let that building go, what are we talking about? We are no longer an art-loving community. I wear another hat. I'm a theater critic. And I go to theaters all over the Chicago area, all the professional theaters. And do you know what all of my friends ask me? When is Theater at the Center coming back? They're asking me that at Drury Lane, at Marriott, at Chicago Shakespeare. They're asking me when the center is coming back. And I can't answer that question. So I'd like to urge all of you to take that to heart. I don't think letting the school corporation buy that building is a very wise move. In fact, I think it would be a very bad move for them as well as for all of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Sarah Solis, and I actually live in St. John, Indiana. Do you need my address? Please. Okay, 8675 Fair Oaks Lane in St. John. Thank you. Thanks. And these are two of my sons. This is Julian, this is Gabriel. Ethan is not here, but all three of my children's lives are what they are because of the Center for Visual and Performing Arts here in Munster. We moved from DeMont, Indiana, here because of that building. All three of my children had the opportunity to perform with the symphony multiple times. Two of my three children had the amazing opportunity to perform on stage at Theater at the Center and be trained with professionals. He wasn't old enough yet before the pandemic, but since then, he has gone on to perform in Chicago, in Aurora, at Drury Lane. So because of the Center for Visual and Performing Arts, and because of his brother's road that they laid before him, he learned all of this because he was there. That building, and I'm speaking this, I'm emotionally charged. These are my children. We changed our complete lives because of that building. We moved. We did so much just because of that organization and what is housed inside of that building. And I can't imagine a world where that building would not be for the community of Northwest Indiana, because I wasn't from Munster. People come from not just Munster to do things in that building. There are people who are less fortunate that are able to learn about the arts because of that building. I support education. I'm happy that the school wants to do something. However, I think that we would be doing an extreme disservice to the greater community of Northwest Indiana and even the southern suburbs of Chicago if it dissolves. Yep.
This is just kind of a story, but in 2019, our house flooded back in the lot. So we were moving from hotel to apartment, and through it all, Theater at the Center offered us a place to stay. That meant a lot to us.
I was in rehearsal for a show there, and it was like a second home to me when my house was not livable.
The people there are more, this echoes a lot of what everyone has said. The people at that building are family. If you are in that building, you're family. And I can't imagine losing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mitch Barola, 1900 Bluebird Lane. As the center of the visual performing arts is a landmark and destination for the town of Munster, I'm here again, as I was last month, in support of the Ridge Road project. One of the things I'd like to bring to your attention, now that I've looked into this a bit more in detail, is the Bereasement and Cohorn report that was produced by the community healthcare system that offered some strong rebuttal to the project. Now, this was done after a significant amount of public engagement as well as community investment was put into the streetscape plan for Ridge Road originally. From my estimations, $100,000 was invested in that project, 50 from this community alone to make that work. Over 1,000 people actually commented on that project and many stakeholders in the community. It was not a hidden venture. Many people had the opportunity to comment on that plan. So, in response, to that well-documented plan, and again, funded by the Federal Highway Administration at $17 million. What I'm trying to respond to is this report. And I'll be brief, obviously, but the things I want to mention here, one of the main objections is the lane reduction, right? Okay, they talk about the lane reduction going from the 5-lane to the 3-lane. They talk about that this is not common. What they don't mention is the current ADT, which is the average daily travel on Ridge Road. It's in the 15,000 to 20,000 range, which is ideal for a 3-lane roadway. Ideal for a 5-lane roadway is more like 38 to 40,000. That's Calumet Avenue. Calumet Avenue needs to stay 5 lanes. We get that. But Ridge Road is right in that sweet spot for the reduction. And they also mentioned the Federal Highway Administration has this problem and that problem. The Federal Highway Administration gave $17 million to Munster to make that happen. If they had such a problem with it, they would have not made that type of investment on a national scale. You're talking about one of the most competitive grant programs imaginable. I've received one for NERC for the Marquette Greenway. Trust me, this is not an easy process. And trying to tell them now at this stage, we're gonna take the core issue of the entire project and modify it, will put this grant in serious jeopardy. I assure you of that. I will also say this, the project will improve safety. It will reduce crashes and reduce speed. It'll stop people from cutting through this community at high speed, even if the Borman is backed up. We want this to be a place of destination and comfort for bicycle and pedestrians, to make this a downtown and a place of pride. Much like the center is at the one end of Ridge Road, we'd like to see this happen on the other. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Back to the center. Yeah. My name is William Shue. I live at 10043 Devonshire Lane. And lived around here all my life. And believe me, the Calumet region is like a vast wasteland of what the lady said, of culture. This is one of the few shining lights of culture that's left. And it'd be a shame to go. And I know you guys are sort of caught in the middle, because my understanding is right from the hospital that owns the property. And is that right?
Yes, they have a foundation that holds.
They should be utterly ashamed of themselves to even bring the subject up, and for the school board to even consider it. I mean, there's people that exposure, just like these young fellows that were here. You get exposure to the arts, you get exposure to training. My granddaughter changed her whole attitude towards the arts by I bringing her here to see artists when they have artist receptions, and to talk to a live artist and understand how they go about it. And that encouraged her to take classes there, and it's just a wonderful resource. You close that down, what's left in this whole area? I mean, there's very few, other than a few places that put on some shows. There's nothing, and it's really pathetic. And I just hope there's going to be a good solution and outcome for this.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, my name's Barbara Whitaker, 1921 Alta Vista, and I know all of you, and I've spoken to all of you about this subject. I'm taking it from a slightly different angle. And I emailed this to you, so I won't read it all. It's not long anyway, but my point is Munster is one of the few communities around that has a dedicated senior center. Whether you take Highland or Griffith, Cherville, we do not have a dedicated senior center. And it's a very important thing for our community. And many of the seniors attend activities that are dedicated at the center. Like we have something called Art Focus twice a week. It's for seniors to come and be educated about the art. There's other things that, and so I think that Munster cannot let this go because it's also good for adults. And, especially since we no longer have the Centennial Park building, that was a boondoggle, we all know about that. And Munster needs to follow the Surgeon General's recent report about how important it is for seniors to have activities to gather and socialize. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for hearing us tonight. I'm Kurt Cook. I live at 8245 Middle Lane in St. John, Indiana. Although I live in St. John, I grew up for 68 years at Hammond, at Munster, and ended up St. John when my wife and I retired. Two reasons I'm here tonight. One is because we have the theater booked for our 50th wedding anniversary in September. So please keep it there. But I've listened to everybody. By the way, I've seen that young lady's children on the stage. We listened to everybody talk about how the Center for Visual and Performing Arts affects them, what it's done for their children. But I look at it because I'm in St. John, and what does it do for you, for the residents of Munster itself? Well, for example, we came to the symphony, not the gala, but a little meeting at the symphony today. Ran out of gas, I got gas down here in the corner. By the way, your prices are a little bit too high. Giovanni's. So this meeting has cost me $200 so far. But think of that, the hundreds of thousands of people that have come to that theater by the graciousness of Mr. Powers have all spent that kind of money in your community. And your community is not an isolationist, it is dependent upon everybody else coming through. So if the school board takes it over, all those people that are coming into Munster to spend their money have one less reason to do so. So it would be a cultural tragedy to get rid of it, but it would also benefit the citizens of Munster to not only keep it, but to expand upon it, to bring the plays back, to bring more people in. By the way, we've been going to those plays for as long as they've had them. And the people that sit next to us, in front of us, and behind us are not from Munster. They're from the communities, as that one person said, all over Lake County. We are the cultural center here. There's no place else to do that. And if Munster wants to grow and to thrive and maintain the wonderful reputation that it has, we need to expound on the cultural aspects of it, not eliminate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Martha Smith. I live at 1918 Lambert Lane. I have been a resident of Munster almost 17 years. I'm a strong supporter of the arts. I think it would be a great loss if the Center for Visual Arts were to disappear. And I commend the council for doing so much to try to develop Munster to be a greater location. We've got the train coming in. We're trying to do further development. We're trying to diversify and have a vibrant community. And it seems that the situation at the visual arts would be counter to everything that the council, and I think most of us as residents, are trying to do, and would have a detrimental impact our property values as well. So I certainly would encourage the council to do as much as it can to try to maintain the present. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Bridget Covert, 2611 Squire Drive, Dyer, Indiana. I just wanted to say, the center has been part of my life for a very long time. I had my prom there in high school. I started working there 12-ish years ago for the theater. Ann Davis hired me on a whim, which was great. I made and set. I built all sorts of things with her. I learned the same valuable lessons. I became the marketing director there, and got to learn much more. I met my husband there. We got married and, we have a baby. I had my baby shower there. I had, this past November, I had my daughter's 3rd birthday party there. I've been with the South Sharks for the last 10 years. I was the exhibits director under John Payne, who was my mentor for all that time. And now I'm working part-time, with David South Shark still. And I can show you pictures of my daughter, like with pack and play in the gallery as I had a little cheer for her in there too. The center has been her home since birth. I have pictures of her strapped onto me, setting up shows and all that. Regardless of my personal stories there, I've just seen every aspect of what the center can do on a given, Sunday, kids practicing and being part of the youth orchestra. On Tuesday nights, the chorus of over 70 people, volunteers, getting ready for concerts. The symphony and the incredible music, if you haven't heard them, they're amazing. The art and all of the opportunities we've given artists throughout the years. I've gotten handout awards to countless kids who come back and have furthered their careers. And our salon show, which is a huge exhibit that 300 pieces are submitted every year. We award people that means so much to them every single year. I hear different stories. And just working with a countless amount of artists from around our area, from around, as far as Michigan, LaPorte, Chicago, all these people coming down to our center. It's just an incredible place. And even in our gift shop, we have 70 local artists that we allow to sell in our gift shop. It's an incredible place, and to see it go would be just a travesty. So just wanted to speak and say that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Thomas Plumber, from 6979 West 84th Place, Crown Point, Indiana. I'm a proud member of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, the union representing stagehands. A place that I would not be without the kindness and education and training from people like Ann Davis, who hired me as well in 2017. I attended my first theatrical performance at the theater in 1996 in kindergarten. In 2011, my mother threw my sister her first baby shower in the meeting room looking out over Ridge Road. In 2015, I took my niece to the princess party. We both dressed up, by the way. In 2017, I joined the theater as well as the lighting and sound supervisor. And in the performing arts world, we refer to a theater as a house. And this house has been my home for several years. Even after it closed for COVID and even after I left, it's still my home. While there is an incredible value in the school town of Munster utilizing the center for educational purposes, it would deny the artistic community of Northwest Indiana and Chicago a critical outlet and the community as a whole of a prominent source of entertainment and social gatherings. Northwest Indiana has no other facility like this one, and theaters such as this are the one that spark a flame for the young students, such as myself many years ago, to pursue a career in the arts. The arts world has always been a suffering one. To lose the only source we have here in our corner of the world would be detrimental to the future of artists everywhere. There is a way of supporting the education of our young community members, and certainly there are partnerships to be made between the school and the organizations that reside inside the center. Though I would implore the school corporation to explore other creative solutions to meet the needs of the students. I could look literally at each and every individual in these rows and tell you a story about them, or where I've been with them, or what we cried over. And that is no lie. But for the sake of saving several days of time, I will leave it at this. Please let those memories keep growing. Please remember that a theater is a house, and we need your help to keep our home. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Ann Davis. I live at 322 Tremont Avenue in Michigan City, Indiana. Before that, I lived in Chicago, Illinois, with my now husband, David Baggett. And both ways, for over 20 years, I drove 40 minutes and sometimes 2 hours to get to work. My background is in road and building construction, and I have a minor in fine art. My master's degree in scenic design. And all the people worked with me and for me. I worked by their side. I taught them how to weld. I taught them how to paint. I went out into educational venues in this area, and I will name them one by one. I'm here to appeal to every single one of you tonight. Wendy, George, David, Joseph, Chuck, and Jonathan, as I stand here shaking because I'm an extreme introvert. My love language is tasks. I ask you to please figure out how to partner or take this building under your wing. And I will speak to exactly why, point by point, because otherwise I will lose track, because I'm a very shy person. So I'm going to begin here by simply throwing many professional artists, those that went on to Broadway, those that have gone on to syndication, commercials, the Goodman, Steppenwolf, New York City, you name it, as well as, you know, authors that have been published, got their start at Theater at the Center, as well as many other venues in the Chicagoland area. Here's where I put my reading glasses on, because I'm much older than I was when I started the center. And to begin with, I did a lot of work before I came to the center. I worked for all kinds of outfits, VH1, MTV. You know, I painted at the Steppenwolf. I do set design sometimes, paint murals, you name it. I'm also familiar with just about every OSHA rule out there, and that place needs to be run underneath someone's guided eye that understands safety, understands training, including individuals that work in that space to protect our young, our old, and every other person that comes in there for classes. Now I'll speak. So as I've already said, TATC started the careers of many Broadway, Chicago film, commercial, and voiceover actors. It has to offer children's theater, both to those that can afford it, you know, and those who cannot. We bus kids in from all over the place, as well as elderly from Ohio, you name it, downstate Illinois, Chicago. I have a very good friend whose parents used to come here regularly from Chicago, more than they went to Drury Lane or Oak Brook. They loved it. Internships that we offered many colleges. Theater offered, obviously, regular theater, as well as concerts, special events of many kinds. And toward the end of my tenure there, we were all obviously let go when COVID happened. And I have been treated so fairly, and I have loved working with community hospital over the years. I have had some incredible mentors there, particularly Chris Wando in finance. Sure, I'm not supposed to say that name, but I'm going to say it because she kept me in line. The annual gala, the arts festival that introduced newcomers to CBPA in droves. The Symphony of Northwest Indiana, which performs all over the place, including College of DuPage, where I've worked on many operas with them. Children's classes and acting classes, coaching of all ages. Partnering with public organizations for community education and benefit of citizens. Seminars, certification, and advocacy groups as regular programming. This is the way you get grants. This is the way you reach out. You partner with community organizations and you become prominent in the public eye, not by being divisive, but by showing what we can do to include everyone and to help those forward that are less fortunate. Believe it or not, arts and STEM programs, integrated technology and training, the region's youth partner in facilities like Ivy Tech, IUN. Theater at the Center has proven history with Hammond Academy for the Performing Arts and Gary Westside Theater Guild, which was run by Mark Spencer, who is going to be running for Senate shortly. I am sure that he will carry this mission forward. I walked into that school very frequently as the only white woman there, and I taught those kids how to weld on that stage. Go on with that, trauma catering obviously was our partner for years, and every single member of their staff is precious to me. in the community: weddings, proms, cultural and religious celebratory events, baby showers, funerals, and celebration of life gatherings, as well as regular luncheons, selling art and doing fun stuff like that. Arts classes for all ages. It has a full art center to paint, to teach adults and children how to paint, scenic carpentry and paint shop, or it did. Obviously, the symphony orchestra, youth, employment, education, you name it, abundant parking, audiovisual equipment, energy conserving lighting and sound, which I researched and installed shortly before we closed. I also made sure that there was interactive internet so that it could be rented to corporate facilities, and I actively pursued those people. In the last 10 years of my time there, I was there over 80 hours a week, most weeks. I had an incredible staff, smart, and many of them women. That being said, I learned much more from the men about keeping my mouth shut. So to that point, I truly believe that innovative and nurturing management can make this a profitable endeavor if it is run properly. But you have to have a Rubik's Cube 360 approach, and you've got to do the work. And it's hard. It's not fun, and it's not glamorous. And I can say that as somebody who owns a pair of work boots with the steel showing. Can't even say it. One last thing here. I know I've surpassed my time. Because I would like to see this building retain its status, enriching so many communities here, Gary, and beyond. There is still a set standing on that stage. That was my set. Theater closed with that set on stage. Under regulation, that is a temporary piece of installation. It was never meant to be permanent. It has been allowed to sit there with no inspection. It is time to take care of that building and to take care of the residents of this town and the spirit of the community and every other person in this room, anyone that I have ever worked with. They deserve your leadership. And that is it.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Linda Johnson, 1436 MacArthur Boulevard, Munster, Indiana, and I really didn't plan on saying anything, but here I go. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to kind of touch on what Ann Davis. My son was an intern that was hired at the Performing Arts Center for the theater under Ann's wing.
He's a genius.
He's a genius. He started out at the theater, and when the theater closed, obviously he stayed home. He's an artist. He's actually an artist also, but he learned so many things from Ann and the theater. Right now, I don't even know his title. Is Dave still here? He is manager / exhibitions manager for South Shore Arts. So from him being, I think, maybe 17 years old under Ann's wing, learning so many things on so many levels, and then that transpired into the South Shore Arts. I've worked for all three. I've worked for the theater. I do work for South Shore Arts, and I also work for Trauma Catering. We really are a family. And it's not just about, I mean, yes, it's about Munster and the citizens of Munster and what Munster brings to our community, but it's Northwest Indiana. It's Chicago. We have artists, people come for events all over the place. It's not just about this area. It's about Northwest Indiana and even farther out. We have artists that come and display their artwork from all over. Like Micah said, New York, everywhere. So I don't know. I just had to say something because we're such a family, and it would be such a shame for everyone, really. I mean, we bring so much to people that can't afford to have special fancy classes. Well, no, we bring them in. We have little kids that come in and it's free. And the parents bring their little kids every Wednesday for just story time. This means something. It'd be a shame. You, like Pat said, you guys can be heroes and save South Shore Arts, save Trauma Catering, save our community culturally, and that's it. See, I wasn't prepared, but the place means a lot to all of us.
Yep.
And we know, I don't know, okay, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna cry. Bye.
Is there anyone else that'd like to come forward and share their story? And okay, here comes the lady.
I'm another one who just came here and wasn't gonna say anything, but then I was listening to everyone. I went to Munster High School, and my kids go to school here, and I just felt.
Excuse me, not to interrupt, but may we have your name and?
Oh, I'm sorry, my name's Dalal, I live at 1321 Tulip Lane. So for me, one of the more factual questions that came up in my mind is, I don't understand why the school town of Munster needs to expand. And the reason I have that question is because the number of school-age children is projected to decrease by 10% over the next 6 years. And my child, his second grade teacher, no longer works there because they didn't have enough second grade students. So they combined the second grade and first grade class. So why would you need more administrators if you have less students? So that's my first question that maybe someone can help me with it. And then the second thing is that, we wanted to increase school funding so that class sizes would decrease. And instead, I know that they're saying it's a different pot of money, but it feels like the same pot of money, and it's going to making offices. And so that is another thing that doesn't really make that much sense to me. And then I think I would like to go on to how many great experiences that I've had at the center. So when we were young, the Indian community used to use it to have events, cultural events, and we spent a lot of time there. My sister, who's a psychiatrist now, had her first acting debut, doing Alice of Wonderland, being a flower. My kids have had birthday parties there. We had 60 school town of Munster students there who had a great time and were able to enjoy the arts. And I think, art is an important part of life, right? We don't want our town to be just a hospital and just school, right? There's a lot of other aspects to life that, the Center for Visual and Performing Arts provides to us. I mean, for example, they just started a theater class there, and without even any advertising, it sold out in a week. And now they're gonna have more. And I think that's something that kids need, right? They need the arts as well as, sports and other things. So that's why I ended up standing up and saying that. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, I might as well.
Okay.
My name is Loretta Galovich. I live at 9501 Windsor Lane. I've been working in the theater for 14 years. And I am amazed at all the contributions and everything that was said about this building. I've learned more about this building than I ever knew. And it's just, I know Mr. Power built this building with this dream of having everything that's going on in this building for everybody, children, people, everybody. And now you want to destroy his dream? I can't imagine. He must be crying in his room. I know the districts are going down and money is spent foolishly, but this is something that I would think is the crown jewel of Munster and all other areas around here, Valparaiso, Crete, Illinois, and I have people asking me every time in the theater, when are you bringing the plays back? We miss the plays. Your plays were better than the plays downtown. We didn't have to pay $90 to see a show. We didn't have to pay $40 to park our car. We miss the food at Trauma. There is so much that this building offers. In my wildest dreams, I can't imagine that you want to destroy it. And that's all I have to say.
I wasn't gonna do this.
You knew you had to.
No, after listening to all this, Mike Dimmelbig, 1833 Tulip Lane. My question is really more for the people in the audience than for you. You're all here. Are you all gonna be at the school board meeting harassing them? Not harassing, but letting them know your feeling. Because they're the ones you gotta really sell. I mean, you gotta sell these people too, because they're the ones that are gonna have to buy it.
That's right.
But be at the school board meeting and let them know what your feelings are, and maybe they'll change their mind.
You give us the day and the time and we'll be there.
Hmm?
Give us the day, the time.
It's the third meeting of the month, every month of,
Monday.
the third Monday of the month. Excuse me, second Monday of the month, every
Okay,
month.
I'm done. Bye.
6 p.m. It's public, it's out loud, it's on the website, it's easy to find. So it's not, it's not tomorrow. It's the second Monday of the month, so the next meeting will be April, I don't have the date, April 8th at 6 p.m. It is a public meeting. It is at the administration center in the school town of Munster, and it's on the website. It's available for anybody in the public to join. It's also streamed. We have video streaming and audio streaming, so any availability, we're happy to see you, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Can I say something real quick? If anyone is not aware, from our understanding, April 8th would be the day that they would vote to buy, like officially buy. So in case anyone didn't know.
There you go.
Oh,
They're doing a backdoor thing like they did on Dalal and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone else that'd like to come forward?
Time for a new,
I see a hand back there.
My name is Edwin Harrison C. Housen. I am from 637 205th Place in Dyer, Indiana, zip code 46311. My fellow council members, after hearing from many of my coworkers and many people here in the community of Northwest Indiana and Munster, Indiana, I ask you this: why would you let the school town try to take away our building, the home that literally where I found my first job here at Theater at the Center from May 6th of 2016 till March of 2020, when the theater had to close down due to COVID. I was very shocked, lost of losing my first job ever. It was the first time I ever lost my job, but until in February 10th, 2022, I was hired by Trauma Catering here. These people, allowed, it was like a coming home where I was lost. The doors were open for me when I was lost. Now here, you want to destroy the home that has housed many people here from South Shore Arts, the Northwest Indiana Symphony Orchestra, and Trauma Catering, and the Theater at the Center here. We've had many people that, and I wish, that you would keep this building. And for me, I currently work at Trauma Catering, and for me, I care about my job and even many people here that have lived in this community and the rest of Northwest Indiana. And right now, if you let the school town buy our building, The legacy of Mr. Donald Powers will be destroyed, and you will destroy many memories and the lives that's contributed to the Center for Visual and Performing Arts. That is all I have to say, and God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, Kathy Tobin, 1123 Elliott Drive in Munster. I wasn't planning to speak either. I'd like to commend everyone who got up to speak because it makes me even more emotional about the center. I'm a history professor at Purdue Northwest, and we are scheduled, like we have been for the last few years, to have our student awards banquet at the center next month. We can't afford to buy your dinner, but I encourage you to come look at a lot of the accomplishments of our students in history, politics, economics, and philosophy. I was at the center today. As I have been, I sometimes stop in on my walk when I go around Beaker Woods, and it's just amazing that the public is welcome. I'm concerned that if the school town purchases it, the public will not be welcome, as we are not welcome on school grounds. I'm a product of the Munster schools, as are my children. I have nothing against the schools whatsoever. I do have a concern, working for a public institution and using taxpayers' money, we look at the best we can do for the efficient use of space. And I don't see it. I just don't see any kind of efficient or effective use of space in administrative offices or even a preschool in that building, which is designed as an art center. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else that'd like to come forward? Anyone else that'd like to come forward? Okay, with that, I will close the open to the public session. I would like to thank everyone who has contributed by commenting here tonight or by submitting emails regarding the Center for Visual and Performing Arts. We truly value all the feedback we have received. This is a significant issue for our town, its citizens, the school town of Munster, and the community foundation. The council is currently in the process of gathering information, including community sentiment, and your comments have been invaluable in this regard. So I'd like to thank you very much. No,
You can thank everybody.
I'd
But
like
Mr.
to thank
Dalal,
everybody for being here.
Mr. Council President, there were electronic, we didn't acknowledge that. So that's part of the comments to the public. So I wanted to share that we received 209 public comments electronically. Many of the counselors received them, the town manager received them as well. There was a variety of public comments. Some of them were from residents, some of them were from employees. Some of them were names that were very familiar to me because I had been in the building for a number of years. And all of them were in the spirit of working collaboratively with the school town, with working with CF&I, with Community Hospital, and with all of the art organizations to see if we can come to a conclusion that we all work together to try and preserve the Center for Visual and Performing Arts. So that needed to be included in the public record. Which
Yes.
we kind of,
Thank you very much.
so this is what we've got.
As was asked, would everyone get a chance to speak? And yes, they did. And we waived our rules so that everyone had the opportunity to tell their stories. And again, I found them very interesting, appreciate all the input. I'm gonna suggest that maybe we take a 5-minute break. For those that, we're gonna go into our regular meeting. You're welcome to stay for that. But those that would like to leave, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, I know.
I miss it. I believe it, but the stuff that get now is like 60 bucks. And a lot of people are. I think they don't get the that they do. Oh, I know. So. Did it say something about it was going to be, it's scheduled to go up November? But how can it not be? Because also one to purchase they're gonna raise your taxes on what they're gonna do. Yeah, I'm fine with this. I find you want to get really? Oh my goodness. Carol, thank you for your comments. We'd like to go ahead and start. There's a time of delay, but I'm very proud of you. I just I'd like to offer anyone that would like to go out to the lobby, continue talking. And again, as we mentioned, I certainly appreciate everyone's attention, and we certainly thank you for being here and sharing your comments. Are you ready?
Of course, I'm ready. Now this looks like a meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
I forgot how to conduct this.
All right, we'll start off with,
Come on in. Hurry up.
Ramps didn't start 4 minutes.
I'm messing it.
all right, we're at item number 1, the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Miss?
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes. All right, that takes us up to old business. And, we now have a forklift.
Yes, the last meeting, council approved the purchase of a forklift to include the trade-in of 2 old forklifts at $1,500 each. Shortly after council approved, Park Department asked that they could buy one of those forklifts instead of having it be traded in. And so that's what we're asking council if there was authorized to be a higher price paid, but the Park Department's going to pay for that. The $1,500 for the one unit.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the new total purchase price of $48,056.40 and the sale of unit 363 to the Park Department for $1,500.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Miss?
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes. All right, under new business, we have resolution 2122.
This is the approving resolution, it's the next step in the process to allow for TIP funds to be used to pay for public safety operating and capital expenditures. The Redevelopment Commission adopted their resolution at their last meeting, Planning Commission adopted theirs. Council was asked to adopt this. Then at the next meeting on April 1st, there will be a public hearing and then final adoption to complete the process.
Mr. President, I want to make a motion to approve resolution 2122 as presented.
Mr. President, I second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Again, I just want to mention that this is an opportunity to have another potential use of the TIP dollars. It doesn't negate anything that's been used or could be used for development or improvement of capital items in the community, but this is something that the state has passed that gives the communities that opportunity to now use this for public safety. All right, Mrs. Miss?
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes. And we have resolution number 2123.
This is a request from Officer Grice as part of the National Night Out activities that they hold. They started having block parties and they asked that we waive the fees normally associated with having a block party.
This is something that's been done for the last,
Last 2-3 years, it's just one night, one event.
and it's been well received in the
It
community.
has, and it's been increasing each year in the participation.
Do you have support for this?
Yeah, Mr. President, I'd like a motion to waive the stipulation and fees related to the organization of block parties for one day, Saturday, August 3rd, with a rain date of Sunday, August 4th, again this year.
And to adopt resolution 21.
And adopt resolution 2123.
All right,
I second that.
we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion or comment? I just want to say that I think the police department and with Officer Rice does an outstanding job with the National Night Out. It just seems to be, it is getting more popular each year. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to bring our community together. And there are a number of folks that come from other communities to join us, so. With that, Mrs. Miss?
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes. That takes us up to item C, which is release of the retainage for the community.
Community Crossings Matching Grant. This is a grant that we go after 2 times a year. The work started last year, finished up this year, and the engineers have looked at it, our staff have looked at it, and they approved the work, and they're asking to release the final retainage.
We have support.
Mr. President, I would make a motion to approve final release of retainage for Camellia, White Oak, and Beverly, also known as the CCMG 2022-2 projects, in the amount of $167,408.14.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Miss?
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes. Item D is contract renewal for Civic Plus.
Civic Plus is the organization we work with to have the town code available online. And this is to renew their contract.
Do we have?
Yeah,
support?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the proposed full service supplementation subscription for a cost of $3,751.56 for the first year, and authorize the council president to sign.
I second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none,
Counselor Schinkin.
Yeah.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
yes. That takes us up to item E, letter of engagement.
This is with SCH Engineering. This is for the CCMG grant. This is the first round of 2024. The grants that don't get announced for a little while yet, but there's a very short timeline to get everything finished. And so practice has been to engage the engineering to have that begin so that we can stay on the timelines and grant requirements.
I'd like the motion to authorize and approve council president to sign the supplemental letter agreement from SEH dated March 13th, 2024 for an amount not to exceed $89,200.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Further discussion?
Yes, I noticed in the scope of work here, as the speed team reviewed these streets, and I noticed there's no traffic calming items in these projects, as were the last 2 or 3 projects we've had traffic calming. And I thought, we've had residents come, Mr. Starcevich a couple of weeks ago came and talked about, are these streets just not up to the point where they need traffic calming, or has this been reviewed?
I do not believe that this has gone to the speed team yet. I think that most of the things that go to the speed team are resident initiated. And that's what I know about that part of it. I can talk with SEH and find out, get back with you if you'd like to know if that's being contemplated there.
Well, again, I think it's important, speed on neighborhood streets has been very important. I know we have the police supporting, trying to keep speeds down. We don't have enough, if we can do it by traffic, narrowing roads or traffic calming devices in one way or another, that seems to reduce speed better than, speed limit signs and things along that nature. So I do notice that one of the streets is near the high school, crosses 35th Street. It would be a prime spot for some type of reduction in speed, and other places. So I would ask that at least our speed team does look at these items. And if we can incorporate some type of traffic calming, during the design phase, I think that would help.
You want to add an amendment? Or do we need to?
I have confidence in our staff that they can look at this stuff and, come back and if need be. Because again, they might have looked at some of these and said that, some of the streets, I know the streets that are on Meadow and Highland Place are probably, those are the short streets that are narrow streets already, that they probably would not be part of traffic calming type. So there might be some reasoning already behind that. Again, I'm just fine with the mention of it.
All right. Any other discussion? Mrs. Miss?
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes. That takes us up to item F, which is a letter of engagement regarding our landfill.
This is with, Baker Tilly, the town's financial advisor. Town has a landfill. There's a requirement that we show every year that we are able to financially provide for that landfill. That's what this is for.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the letter of engagement with Baker Tilly. The annual landfill assurance test in the amount of $7,700.
I'll second.
Motion, we have a second. Any further discussion, comments? Miss?
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes. Item G is update to Title 6.
So the town is mandated by NDOT to have a policy regarding an implementation plan regarding Title VI, which talks about non-discrimination. Comes to council every year for them to update. There's a change in staff, and so the people that were named in it are no longer with the town. And so this is just updating who the coordinator would be for the Title VI program.
Mr. President, I'd like to make the motion to approve the amended Title VI implementation plan, naming the interim town manager as the coordinator.
I second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, thank you.
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes. That takes us up to item H, update to the ADA transition plan.
This is similar to the previous item in that it's updated every year, and we need to name someone to be the compliance coordinator for this.
Mr. President, I would make a motion to approve the amended 2024 ADA transition plan, naming the interim town manager as the ADA compliance coordinator.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none,
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Mr. President, I do have a question on this. Is there a separate resolution? I'm looking at the agenda of the transition plan. Is there a separate resolution, or am I missing, where Ms. Abbott's appointed as the interim contact in this document?
I'm looking for what page it's on.
Is it page 2? Is this?
It's on page 2.
Miss, I vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. And then Counselor Nellens.
yes. That takes us up to reports. Any reports tonight? Portfolio reports. Counselors, anything that you have to report tonight?
Mr. President, the interim town manager, clerk treasurer, myself, met with the RDA the other day just to give them an update on, new staff people here at the town hall. They did suggest that they're more than willing to come and talk to the council in general, answer any questions the council has. And I will reach out to you via email just to kind of see if you are interested in doing that. I just want to give you an update. They are very willing to come and just have a discussion with the council yourselves or with the council and public. We want to be an open resource, and they want to make sure they emphasize that they are not
here to design anything or do anything for us, just to be a help and assistance. So, that was this past, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday. Just want to let you guys know that.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Gardner. Any other reports? All right, that moves on to announcements. All town council meetings will begin at 7 p.m. unless otherwise noted. April 1st, 2024 will be our next regular town council meeting and regular redevelopment meeting. Looking for an adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So, second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that closes one meeting, and we'll go into the redevelopment meeting, and that meeting normally doesn't last very long. And there's Member Castro, he's here, always.
Yes, sir. Trying to be
Very, very punctual as always.
as much as I can be.
Mrs. Miss, would you, take the roll call?
Sure, we're gonna call this meeting to order at 8:29. Commissioner Schinkin.
Here.
Commissioner Hopper.
Here.
Commissioner Gardner.
Present.
Commissioner Peterson.
Here.
Commissioner Nellens.
Here.
And our school town liaison.
Present.
Commissioner John Castro, nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
It was nice to have you have a report at the last school board meeting.
It was
too.
great,
It's a
yeah.
very nice report. Well done.
Thank you very much.
All right, at this point, I would open up the public comment. If anyone wishes to speak before the redevelopment commission, it'll be the same guidelines. Limit 2 minutes per person with the 5 minute for a group spokesperson. And we'd like to have you keep your comments civil and constructive. Public policy. Anyone like to come forward and speak to the redevelopment commission? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I would make a motion to accept the consent or the consent agenda as provided.
Second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion, questions? Seeing none.
Commissioner,
Miss-
I'll go. Commissioner Schinkin.
Yes.
Commissioner Hopper.
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner.
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson.
Yes.
Commissioner Nellens.
Yes. There is no old business. Takes us up to new business, the 2023 annual reports.
This is a report required under statute from the treasurer to the commission each year. These cash balances and activity over last year.
We need to make a motion on that.
You just need to accept.
No.
You do. President orders it placed on file.
All right, we'll accept that report and place it on file.
So there's something else for you, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
2 in a row.
That's
Pretty
I
good.
I
I'm
know.
on a roll.
Any reports at this time? Any announcements? I'm looking for adjournment.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
I second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much.
John. I'm Michael Gallagher, with Lake Shore Public Media.
Okay.
It's a meeting. Just wanted to ask a couple of quick questions about visual and performing arts. I mean, just anything the town can do.
You know, honestly.